After using computer technology to summon the demon Loki for revenge, Akemi Nakajima finds himself transported to another world. He travels with long-lost friend Yumiko Shirasagi, as she combats the goddess Izanami, who she's the reincarnation of. They must find their way to freedom before Loki destroys them and everything they care about. Having never played the original game, or never read the novel, I have to judge this piece by its own merits. My experience with the franchise is limited to an unfinished viewing of Persona 4 the animation, which I enjoyed from what I saw. On its own, it has a staggering amount of unfortunate problems for an entry in such a beloved series. For this OVA, it's not so much an issue of the story as a whole, but more the shoddy sum of its parts. As a concept, it's fine. The plot is fairly straightforward, and while it's strange at first glance, it's nothing a typical anime viewer would be turned off from. The first real problem of the story begins with its two main characters, Akemi and Yumiko. With little to nothing learned about them, it hinders basic understandings a viewer needs to be able to understand the motivations, especially in the case of Akemi. At one moment, Akemi seems like, and basically is, a villain, but the justification for his actions feels so underplayed. His turn into the hero of the story feels less like character development, and more so an issue of a lack of focus. Akemi's actions at the beginning make it instantly difficult for the viewer to relate, even if he is a victim of other circumstances. Yumiko also spends most of the story either unconscious or dealing with transforming into Izanami, which turns out to not nearly be as interesting as it sounds, as the story chooses to focus on Akemi almost entirely, only to end in a very unsatisfying manner, leaving the viewer wondering what the overall objective was for the production. For the pros, it's atmospheric, utilizing colors and environments to give a theme of dread throughout the OVA. It uses a lot of blacks while subtly uses bright colors to help scenes pop while staying mysterious. For the cons, its narrative is so focused on the cerebral, its editing suffers and confuses the viewer to what actually happened and what didn't. Too many times you are questioning if something was a dream, a memory, or something that is actually happening, such as Akemi taking a beating from a bully or the first sacrifice. The music has aged horribly. Music made entirely from keyboards can be fun, but often the music feels wrong and is noticeably cheap sounding. The whole production feels almost mean-spirited in its execution, having weirdly sexual overtones, especially with Miss Ohata, the class teacher. It's full of characters who are either just there to be evil or treated as fodder. When it tries to be dramatic, it comes across as forced. Recommended watch? If you're a fan of the Shin Megami Tensei series as a whole, you might find it an interesting watch, at least to see the early incarnations of the treasured franchise. If you're strictly a Persona fan, probably not so much. The Persona series is acclaimed for its characterization, and there is nothing of the kind here. If you fall into neither category, you might as well just look for something else. Although as a curiosity piece, it could be seen as an example of the Japanese mindset of the 1980s. Digital Devil Story Megami Tensei is not currently licensed, but you can find series like it, such as Persona, at sites like rightstuff.com, Discotech Media, SentaiFilmworks.com, and Funimation.com. Stay classic.